Hey everyone, it's Michael. I hope you're doing well today, and I have a video here to talk about a book that I'm so excited to talk about. My wife got me a copy from the Marvel Premiere Collection of a book that I've wanted for so long, and that is Wolverine Old Man Logan by Mark Millar and Steve McNevin, I think is how you say his name. I'm not the biggest Millar guy up front, or Miller, however you say his name. I read Kick-Ass, that's about it. I haven't read The Boys. I haven't read... what else did he do? Wanted? I haven't read a lot of his creator-owned stuff outside of the first... Well, I think I read the first two Kick-Asses. But anyway, I'm not the biggest Millar fan. I just haven't been, just because of his style of storytelling. But I'm glad that he does as well as he does. He's kind of like the McFarlane of my life, my lifetime. Anyway, Wolverine, I'm a huge fan of. I didn't like the movie Logan all that much. And I knew it was based on this loosely, very loosely, for anybody who doesn't know. And I always suspected this would be way better. I haven't read any of the current stuff of, not really sequels, but kind of sequels to this book. Millar didn't write those. I haven't read any of those things. And yet, I was so pumped to get around to finally reading this. It's essentially a graphic novel. It might as well be. It's like 7 issues long. And it is probably the best book I read this year. Now, I think I just said that in my review for Go Go Loser Ranger Volume 2. There's a lot of other stuff coming out this year I'm excited for, like a new Die Dark volumes and new Dragon Ball Super volumes. But as a kind of standalone story, I would say, you can go into this knowing nothing. Old Man Logan might be the best book I read this year. But the cover's so bad for Marvel Premiere Collections that I just could not bring myself to make that the cover of this video because of how much I respect and love this book. So you got the OG trade paperback cover. Anyway, what is this book about? Well, as many of you know, Wolverine's an old man in here, but it actually is 50 years after the fall of the heroes. And there's a lot of mystery and vagueness to that. What happened to them, you kind of find out more and more as the book goes on, but you never really get a lot of in-depth answers about how people like Spider-Man were killed. But pretty much all the big heroes, like Captain America and everybody, were killed off because of something the villains were doing, potentially. I don't want to tell you anything. There is surprise after surprise in this book. You have to go in blind like I did. Even if you saw the movie Logan, you have no clue what's going on in here. So 50 years after some really bad damage that Wolverine took and some really horrific stuff that he saw that I'm not going to tell you about, he has stopped using his claws. He has not popped them out once in 50 years. And the world has come to an end. Without the superheroes, the villains like Doctor Doom and Kingpin have completely taken over certain areas. Then there's landmarks. You know how in America we have the Statue of Liberty and the Grand Canyon and stuff. Different locations that mean something because of something there. You'll have different things that are kind of the same thing, because this is basically a road trip book across the U.S. with Wolverine and Hawkeye. I'll get to that in a moment. You would not expect a road trip book to be as amazing as this is. Nor would you expect a road trip book to have the amazing art that this has. I've never read anything or seen anything, I guess, from Steve McNevin. He killed it here. This is some of the best comic art I have seen in ages. I cannot believe I missed out on this when it was coming out. Well, I guess I wasn't really into comics just yet at the time. But I wish I had read this back in the day. Even if you don't know anything about Wolverine, even if you don't like Wolverine, this is such a great tale and such a great version of him. But anyway, all the locations matter. Every issue is telling something that's really, really integral to the story to me. So where Wolverine lives at this current point as an older man, which I'm kind of confused on how he became an old man, but he did. He has a wife and kids now. And with the whole fall of the country and the fall of the world and villains taking over, apparently one of the people, and I thought this was a nice reference to back in the day, Wolverine's first appearance in comics, for anybody who doesn't know, was against the Hulk. Bruce Banner has a bunch of inbred family members. Kids, grandkids, whatever, nieces, nephews. And I'm not going to go too much into that, but basically they control the land that Wolverine and his family and their local kind of village live on. And everyone across the whole country, this is mainly focused on the U.S. as a culture, as a story, everyone's in poverty, essentially. And the Hulk family people, they're like rednecks. They're like straight out rednecks. One of them is even wearing a hat that says green neck. I laughed so hard when I saw that. I don't even know why. It just was great. The book is really good about having background jokes and stuff. It's really good about that. It's such a great, smart tale. Wolverine is struggling to pay his bills. But these landlords, these redneck, green necks, whatever, they're awful. They're just mean-spirited, awful people who just want chaos, and when they get bored, they create chaos. And they show up at Wolverine's house, and they want their money. He doesn't have it right now. They beat him up, and they're saying they're going to come back in, I think a month or something like that for all of the money. So Wolverine gets into a conversation with Hawkeye, who's blind now, and Wolverine's healing factor is taking a bit to work, you know? Well, Hawkeye, who's like an old hippie, and like I said, he's blind, he tells him that he needs Wolverine to help him out driving across the country to deliver some kind of package in a suitcase. And he doesn't tell him what it is, tells him he doesn't want any questions. But since he's blind, he wants Wolverine to help him out on the cross-country trip. And that he'll pay him a lot of money to pay for his bills and have a little bit left over. Wolverine, out of desperation to take care of his family, and I thought this was such a great angle of this character, where he's feeling more of a grown-up character at this point. From what I know of Wolverine, I've never seen much of this, to be honest with you. Even though I love the character. He's usually kind of one note, even though we have nice backstories about the Weapon X stuff, in other comics. But this was such a great, more mature tale about Wolverine, and I loved that about it. Logan is such a good character. And he agrees to go on the trip, and they encounter a lot of shit as they go across the country to try to deliver this package for Hawkeye. The twists, the turns, the adventure parts of it, every single page in this book matters. Every single page. There's no joke 7 issues here. It's basically a miniseries within a run of the Wolverine comics. I think this was starting at issue 69 or 70 or something like that. Every issue mattered here. And one of my favorite things about it is that Wolverine and Hawkeye are driving in the Spider-Mobile from back in the 70s comics, or 60s, but I think it was the 70s, I'm pretty sure. My uncle had comics of Spider-Man driving this goofy-ass car up the side of buildings in New York City. I have those issues, right? I've read them before. I never liked that. I never understood why it needed to be a thing. I don't know much about it now as an adult, but when I was a kid and I would read those things, I would think about how absolutely stupid that is. I cannot lie to you. When I was reading this book and I saw that pop up, it made me smile. It made me smile in a way that comics have not made me do in a long time, outside of some of the stuff I read recently. But it was such an odd choice, but now by reading the book, I understand why it's there. I loved it. I loved this book. It's a bloody, gory book, too. If you don't like that, this is not the book for you. It is a very, very mature read. It's not like dropping F-bombs left and right or anything like that. But it is a bloody read. I would not give this to a child. I would give it to an older teenager, like a 15 or 16-year-old. There's a lot of implied violence and whatnot that I don't think kids are going to be around to need to be reading something like that. But as an adult, I will tell you this is one of my favorite stories I've ever read in comics. I could not believe how good this was. I've had a digital copy of this sitting on my Kindle or my Nook or something forever, and just haven't gotten around to reading it. I wanted a physical copy. I wanted to support Marvel Premiere Collection, even though I still don't like the $15 price tag on them. But my wife got me it, like I said. I think it was for Christmas, because I wanted to read this at Christmas, if I remember correctly. And I was sick, so I couldn't. But this would have made me feel so much better if I had not been as sick. I barely knew who I was, so I don't think I could have taken in all of the shit in this book, all the background stuff. There's just so much here to love, man. I don't really want to tell you anything else. This might be the best cross-country story ever written, to be honest. I want it to surprise you as much as it did me. If you know a lot about comics and you read this, there's so much there for you, especially that old Hulk Wolverine background that we're all talking about here. But there's other things that I don't want to talk about that are in here that are so valuable if you love comics already. But if you don't love comics already, if you want to get into comics, and let's say you love the Logan movie, you should read this. I think you would love it. It's a great intro for somebody like you. It's fantastic. It has beautiful art. There are so many moments in it that just blow me away because it's very styled after a Western, very much like the Logan movie was. But the Logan movie is taking that from this. It feels like a Western tale a lot of the time. The final issue in here had me so amped up because it's kind of like the final shootout in a Western. That's not giving anything away because I would be surprised if you know where this is going reading it up to that last issue. It is such a horrifically tragic kind of tale. All the poverty issues, all the stuff Wolverine's dealing with, worrying about his family, the brotherhood type of thing about ex-Avengers between Wolverine and Hawkeye. That stuff's great. I love it. It is just magnificent. If you've never read it before, please, for the love of God, read it. It's sad that Logan was made before the Disney deal, back in the day when Disney bought out Fox. Because if we had had this just made into a movie with Hugh Jackman, it would have been so much better than what we got. I still don't like the Logan movie all that much. I think it is so incredibly overrated. I sat through it twice now. I just don't like it. If we had gotten this as the movie, I think it'd be one of the highest grossing movies ever. But of course, like I said at the time, they couldn't make that. But this is fantastic. So anyway, what do you think about Wolverine Old Man Logan? Do you love it? Do you hate it? I'd love to hear all that down below too. For me, this is a masterpiece. And like I said, you don't have to know anything going into it. No previous issues, no future issues, nothing like that. You can go right in, and I think you'll have an amazing time with this read. Again, the art is perfect. I wouldn't change anything about it, to be honest, in the writing, in the art, whatever. Every page matters of the story, and I just can't express that enough, how amazing that is to see that done for once. It's hard to come by, and it's hard to review stuff like this, or stuff like comics in general. But the stories like this are why I lean more and more towards graphic novels, or possibly reviewing whole runs, just straight out. Because this is what I like to do. This is like reviewing a novel. That's how masterful it is. It has a beginning, middle, and end. I don't have to worry about all this junk that came after this book because this was meant as a standalone once upon a time. But anyway, let me know what you think about the book if you have read it before. What do you prefer, this or the Logan movie from James Mangold? I'd love to hear all that down below too. Thank you guys. God bless you all. Catch you later. And thank you so much to my beautiful wife who got me this amazing read. I love you, Rachel. And if you happen to be listening to this, I love you even more because you're giving me more views. God bless you guys. Goodbye.